Always forward, never backward. Most people are wildly overconfident about how much they can predict their life path, particularly on alternative timelines. Your alternate fantasy lives are not a real thing, you should not waste time on them. Path dependence is the concept that future events are based on prior events. That if you, or your organization or country, take one decision, it leads to a series of events, but if you take a different decision, a whole different series of events will happen. What does this have to do with your real life? Well, we make decisions all the time. Sometimes we make very obvious mistakes. Sometimes we make mistakes, possibly are mistakes, but we are not sure. So a very common feeling is to dwell on those mistakes or mistakes. If only I had bought Bitcoin in 2011, if only I had married John, not Bob, if only I had taken the new job in California at the startup. People, of course, only worry about these decisions when they seem to not be working out. Bitcoin went up in price, a lot. Bob is a bit of slob, distant, seems a bit lost. John is well dressed, has a sparkling career and, according to Instagram, a rich family life. Your classmate who took that startup job has $50 million worth of stock options. I am here to tell you to knock it off for 2 reasons. There is nothing you can do about it now. But much more importantly, your imagined alternative life is a complete fantasy for 3 reasons I will explain below. First of all, life is a series of thousands of different decisions, and the path dependence of your alternative life is completely unknown. Maybe you married John and were killed by a drunk driver on your honeymoon. Maybe you bought BTC and developed a terrible cocaine habit. It is a huge error to assume that your alternative life would be everything the same except for this one thing. Once you step in a different decision stream, then literally anything can happen. Including, yes, you died in a car accident. The second reason is that the grass is always greener on the other side. Maybe John is a high-functioning alcoholic who cheats on his wife but is excellent at presenting a facade. You never really know other people's lives, but we do know everyone has problems. The third reason is you and your habits and beliefs are an inseparable part of how your life goes. If you were the exact same person you were who did not buy BTC, but, at that moment, you bought BTC, you almost certainly would have sold it in one of the bear markets. If you were the exact same person you are and married John, perhaps you would be incompatible, perhaps would it lead to fighting and a divorce. Maybe you would have a kid who was a troublemaker. You can't assume that John plus you is the same as John plus Kate. If you were the exact same person but took the tech job, maybe the job and environment would not be a fit for you. Maybe you would have left for Google, maybe you would have been fired, maybe the company would not have done as well with you there. Most people's happiness is actually fairly stable over time and is driven more by intrinsic factors than extrinsic ones. Lottery winners and people who suffer severe disabilities tend to return to their baseline happiness within a year or so. So, your alternative, more happy fantasy life is almost certainly nonsense, distracting you from your real life. Your real life is here, today. And what you do today will determine tomorrow and trigger the next set of path dependencies for you and others. Does this mean you should not try to learn from your past decisions? Of course not. You should try to learn new things from experience. Does it mean that if you made a mistake, you should not try to reverse it? Of course not. If it makes sense to do so, sure, go ahead. But, your starting point has to be today. You have to look at what your situation is today, what choices you have in front of you today, and try to do the best thing for yourself today. What alternative timeline may have happened years ago is now lost forever in the multiverse. Always forward, never backward. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. You have the extraordinary privilege of being alive right now. Many of you in some of the best circumstances ever known to man. Make the most of it. Don't waste time in a fantasy life. Related, you can never step into the same river twice.